San Antonio is a city close to the Mexican border. Its cultural diversity and traditions are truly amazing. This border character gives it a taste of home, especially for Mexicans. When talking about San Antonio, we cannot fail to mention Trinity University, the College of Arts and Sciences, especially the Morrison Tower, which is 166 feet tall, was once the highest point in the city. But one day, a young man broke into the campus and broke into a room on the second floor of the female dormitory. It was a mess. He was crying and throwing clothes everywhere. He also smashed the furniture and smashed the books and notebooks on the table and tore them into pieces. He was completely out of control. When the security arrived, he was still sitting on the bed with a spilled soda in his hand, crying. The man was arrested and taken to the police station. He caused $1,650 in damage to his room and college. Who was caught? Mark, 22. He had recently lost his beloved girlfriend. Kelly had been struggling to cope with the loss of him. In pain, he went to his room and completely collapsed emotionally. When he was arrested, he kept crying and chanting Kelly's name. Welcome to the Academic Case Archives. Let's analyze today's case together before this incident happened. It's been 4 months since Mark was indicted in connection with the death of his girlfriend, Kelly, a Trinity University cheerleader. The story is filled with rumors, questions, and a lot of information from law enforcement. But let's start at the beginning. Kelly Anita was born on August 20th, 1998 in Webster. Her father's name is Tucker Mandotti, her mother's name is Allison, and the family is in good circumstances. Allison is a scientist. Tucker serves as the executive director of MGM Resorts internationally. Although her parents are divorced, Allison is married. NASA engineer Lawrence lives in Houston, but Kelly still has a close relationship with her father and is in constant contact with him. His stepfather also loves him very much and is like a second father. Kelly is not only a grateful and loving daughter and granddaughter, she is also an outstanding student, team member, sister, and friend. His infectious laugh and kind heart can light up any room. Kelly excels in school and is actively involved in extracurricular activities. He enjoys riding horses, playing the piano, and even performs in theater. Still a girl, she ran around the Chinghu community with her friends and went hiking with her parents. In 2016, she graduated with honors from Creek High School in League City, Texas. Kelly loved animals and joined a volunteer group called Animal Therapy. He is always eager to explore new and unknown areas. He dreams of trying extreme sports and is constantly looking for exciting experiences. Kelly, a slender, dark-haired 19-year-old, is already a sophomore at Trinity University in San Antonio, where he studies communications. She is love. It's been 4 months since Mark was indicted in connection with the death of his girlfriend, Kelly, a Trinity University cheerleader. The story is filled with rumors, questions, and a lot of information from law enforcement. But let's start at the beginning. Kelly Anita was born on August 20th, 1998 in Webster. Her father's name is Tucker Mandotti. Her mother's name is Allison, and the family is in good circumstances. Allison is a scientist. Tucker serves as the executive director of MGM Resorts internationally. Although her parents are divorced, Allison is married. NASA engineer Lawrence lives in Houston, but Kelly still has a close relationship with her father and is in constant contact with him. His stepfather also loves him very much and is like a second father. Kelly is not only a grateful and loving daughter and granddaughter, she is also an outstanding student, team member, sister, and friend. His infectious laugh and kind heart can light up any room. Kelly excels in school and is actively involved in extracurricular activities. He enjoys riding horses, playing the piano, and even performs in theater. Still a girl, she ran around the Chinghu community with her friends and went hiking with her parents. In 2016, she graduated with honors from Creek High School in League City, Texas. Kelly loved animals and joined a volunteer group called Animal Therapy. He is always eager to explore new and unknown areas. He dreams of trying extreme sports and is constantly looking for exciting experiences. Kelly, a slender, dark-haired 19-year-old, is already a sophomore at Trinity University in San Antonio, where he studies communications. She is loved by her friends. She also led the cheerleading team of the football team. She energetic and radiant beauty attracted the attention of many suitors. Once, at a football game to cheer for the Trinity team, she met 22-year-old Mark, a tall and smart athlete. The professional baseball player was not attracted to Kelly at first because she was infatuated with a guy named Jeter and did not notice other people. But Mark fell in love with her at first sight and was fascinated by her big eyes and her unique charm. Their first meeting didn't go well, nor did their second, but Mark didn't give up. In September 2017, the two officially started dating. From the beginning, their friends felt that they were a mismatched couple because they were both too emotional and bad-tempered. The relationship was characterized by a lack of compromise from the start and was filled with arguments and conflicts. The young and passionate couple were always jealous and often argued. Observers of their relationship reported that Kelly often suffered from bruises because a close friend also shared an incident that scared her. Kelly had asked her friend to get her phone from Mark because she was too scared and the situation was getting worse. Mark became aggressive, brandished a gun, and threatened violence. Kelly was aware of her boyfriend's jealousy and temper issues, but she always assured her friends that it was okay and asked them not to make their arguments public. On September 24, 2017, Kelly's roommates were fed up and called the police. They heard a loud noise coming from Kelly's room. A man was making a fuss inside and threatened to take action. The police arrived at the scene and found Mark alone in the house. Kelly was unwilling to press charges, saying it was nothing serious and was just a minor quarrel between lovers. But her friends thought Mark might. It was the moment that made him so lawless. They said that once he even threatened to throw Kelly off the balcony, which also alerted the police. Their relationship was like a storm on the sea, sometimes rough and calm, and they were extremely happy in October. On the 29th, Mark and Kelly went to San Antonio to attend the Maraluna Music Festival. This is a big gathering for Gothic and modern industrial music lovers. It attracts more than 10,000 people every year. Maraluna is simply a party animal and a person who loves to be alone. It's a paradise, because you can easily become invisible in the crowd. Mark and Kelly had a great time playing with their friends that night, but the sudden appearance of Kelly's ex-boyfriend pissed Mark off again. The two had a big fight and left the festival early. Their friends didn't see them again. 6 hours later, late at night, Mark drove his black Mercedes to a hospital. She got out of the car in a panic and waved desperately for help. The medical staff found a half-naked girl in the car. Unconscious, the car was a mess. Kelly's clothes were everywhere. She was splayed out in the front seat like a lifeless doll. Kelly was rushed to the emergency room. Mark told people at the hospital that they had smoked something illegal before the music festival. This information helped doctors determine he might have overdosed. She was later transferred to another hospital in Kyle, Texas, where nurses specialized in intimate violence cases. An examination revealed additional injuries to her face and head, forensics said. The blunt force trauma was the cause of the sensitization. It appears that Kelly was killed. The police began to investigate who was responsible for Kelly's death. Mark was the last person to be with her, but there was no conclusive evidence linking him to the crime. However, each Mark acted extremely suspicious every time he was interviewed by the police. His description of the incident changed each time, making investigators suspicious. Surveillance video captured him and Kelly at the same location Mark had been to, and conversations with Kelly's friends and family revealed that he had become more violent toward her. His sister even said he made her very scared. The police also discovered there were several alleged violent incidents between the pair, including Mark slamming Kelly's head into a car window and breaking things in his Trinity dormitory. Allison sued the school in Baker County District Court, saying the school failed to take necessary steps to protect her daughter from her boyfriend. The lawsuit was brought by Allison, the mother of her ex-boyfriend Mark. She said that Mark attacked this 19-year-old girl from League City and was ultimately responsible for her death. According to the lawsuit, Trinity University staff, administration, and campus police were aware of Mark's problematic behavior during their relationship, despite the man threatening to punch Kelly in the face, or caused serious bodily harm to him. But the school did nothing to protect the young woman in the weeks before her death. A spokesman for Trinity declined to comment on the allegations in the lawsuit, saying the legal process was ongoing. Sen's statement also said Kelly's tragedy could have been avoided if Trinity had taken appropriate steps to intervene. The school ignored its own policies on handling cases of potentially violent and harassing relationships, as the lawsuit alleges after the dormitory incident. He was banned from campus for a year, but he violated it repeatedly. Detectives also uncovered multiple instances of Mark being violent towards Kelly during their relationship, such as one time when one of her sisters said he threatened to throw her off a balcony during an argument. Another one said he threatened to shoot some of his ex-boyfriend's brothers with a gun. Based on all of these charges against him, police finally issued a warrant for his arrest in February 2018. Mark turned himself in after finding Kelly's room in disarray amid heavy snow. He faces multiple charges, including criminal conduct, intimate violence, and kidnapping. However, he has pleaded not guilty to the charges. The first trial over Kay Mandati's death began in December 2019. Prosecutors believe Mark, who is known for his short temper, was caught in a fit of rage. They also claim they transported him for nearly 6 hours before taking him to hospital. Mark's legal team has argued Kelly's end could be down to a variety of factors. Incident reports reveal he was in the body. The presence of banned substances indicates a possible increase in blood pressure or head trauma during an intimate activity. Kelly's mother recounted how the cuts and bruises on her daughter's body were as severe as if she had fallen from a plane. In fact, the injuries were extensive. Submitted to Bessar photos taken by county jurors show Kelly, a Trinity University sophomore from San Antonio, Texas, nearly unrecognizable with bruises from head to toe, red marks and scratches. Both of her eyelids are swollen and bruised. The only one without the areas that showed any signs of injury were her back and the back of her hind legs. Graphics and photos taken by forensic pathologist Dr. Susanna Dana, who conducted the examination, showed she had a subdural hematoma on the right side of his brain. It was Kelly's father, Dirac Mandati, spoke in a trembling voice after seeing 2 photos of the victim in a vegetative state in an intensive care unit, surrounded by so many pavilions that his face was barely visible. His daughter. He said that was my daughter, my only child. Dr. Susanna Dana said that when he examined Kelly's head, he found an indentation in his skull. Most of the doctor's testimony focused on Kelly. Suffering skull and facial injuries, Dana described them as severe. These injuries included eye trauma, bruising on both eyelids, swelling of the left eyelid, inability to fully close, extensive bruising on both left and right jaws, upper teeth, and gums in the mouth. There were bruises on the lips and cheeks, and bleeding in both eyes. He said photographs showing the inner eyelid lining concluded the cause of Kelly's death was blunt force trauma to the head and face. Dr. William Anderson reviewed the incident results. We do not agree with the conclusion that Kelly was assaulted. We did not see any fractures to the eye sockets, nor to the nose, nor to the face. This suggests there was no frontal assault. Instead, Anderson suggested the young woman's injuries were more consistent with a fall and extensive medical intervention. Defense lawyer John Hunter put forward an alternative argument, saying prosecutors lacked sufficient evidence to shed light on what happened to Kelly. Proving Mark's involvement in the incident was considered impossible throughout the trial. He often pointed to Kelly's drug use, at one point mentioning that she was receiving treatment for substance dependence in a hospital. Professor Jason Warlick, of the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia, testified that Kelly's blood contained large amounts of the substance, commonly known as ecstasy or MDMA. The presence of MDMA suggests that a person may suffer a minor head injury, while the effects of MDMA may render it fatal. John Hunter builds on the above conclusion by suggesting that the drug affects everyone differently. Many people experience body temperature when taking the substance, elevated or electrolyte imbalances, which he said could lead to unconsciousness. The jury began hearing testimony that day. Jurors saw a video and heard audio recordings of police officials, in which Mark told investigators he and Kelly got into an argument and were in the car. They had sex inside, and then she passed out. They liked to have rough sex. He said he would choke her during the sex because he liked it. Mark claimed it was all consensual. But where did these injuries come from? The issue remained unresolved at the trial over the death of Kelly, which took place in December 2019. Allison was convinced Mark would be responsible for his daughter's death. However, the family were left deeply disappointed after the trial in 2019. Despite Mark accused of ending a life but still insists he is innocent, the defense argued the victim's injuries were caused by hospital staff during resuscitation efforts, and the jury was unable to reach a verdict, leading to a mistrial. The case was reviewed by Raymond Ann. The case was declared a mistrial and dismissed when the jury was unable to reach a verdict. Bell County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez was in charge of the trial from the beginning. Disappointed by the result, he said he would scrutinize the entire case. Kelly's parents, Allison and Lawrence, decided to launch an investigation themselves. They collected all possible evidence and autopsy reports, focusing particularly on a small circular spot near Khalildo. They speculated that this may have been caused by Mark banging his head against the car window, causing him to hit the door lock and injure himself. They hoped this would serve as solid evidence of his crime. They found a Mercedes similar to the one Mark drove on the night of the crime. Vehicle and had Lawrence pose for photos in a manner they believed reflected Kelly's possible injuries. With the help of Texas troopers, they obtained 3 affidavits and a warrant for Mark's arrest, charging him with criminal conduct, aggravated assault, and criminal mischief. The evidence answered many questions in Kelly's case and provided a detailed timeline of events before and after Kelly's death. The timeline provided by authorities revealed alleged lies about Mark and evidence surrounding his arrest. Prosecutors throughout the trial, portraying Mark as a controlling boyfriend who repeatedly called Kelly and took her phone away from her, leaving her unable to communicate with her friends. On one occasion, 2 weeks before his death, Mark pushed Kelly into a wall. In front of a brick wall and trashing his dorm room in a fit of rage, Kelly soon told Mark she needed some space. According to text messages reviewed by the jury, Mark began sending him dozens of messages, at one point threatening to take his own life. Kelly begged him not to do it, and she called him about 200 times in total that night. They then went to a festival and argued about Kelly's ex-boyfriend. He was also there. Mark took Kelly away from the festival and brought her to him. GPS camera recordings show the couple stayed in the parking lot for more than an hour, which is where prosecutors suggest Mark attacked Kelly and beat her to death. The family thanked the Texas Rangers for their diligence in bringing appropriate criminal charges against Kelly's alleged attacker. Mark's preliminary trial was set to begin in June 2023, but was postponed due to delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic. During the trial, prosecutors considered something wrong. Video footage of her injuries taken by Kelly's parents at the hospital was eventually withdrawn due to the possible complications of obtaining new controversial evidence. Evidence collected in Texas with the help of troopers was also considered in Mark's aggravated conviction. Court sentences him to 20 years in prison for assault causing bodily harm resulting in fatal case. He was fined $110,000 and restitution to Kelly's family. In addition, he was banned from contact with more than 20 people involved in the case. Mark, now in his 30s, is serving time in Willis County Jail and is eligible for parole in 2033. Despite the conviction given to Kelly. The family received some relief, but they said the verdict did not seem to go far enough for their loss. In a second trial, Mark faced charges including aggravated assault occasioning grievous bodily harm and an original manslaughter charge from the first trial. Different prosecutors expanded charges to include aggravated assault and manslaughter. Legal strategy adjusted to present a fuller case against Mark. However, unhappy with the outcome. Kelly's family and prosecutors insist on a retrial. Kelly's tragic story highlights the impact of violence on young people, the devastating impact on his life and his grieving family's quest for justice. The complex case is the focus of this article. Kelly's final hours, reported by 48 Hours. Reporter Peter Vant. Kelly's story has a future for young people. A stark reminder of the consequences of violence in a life despite betrayal and guilt. Kelly's family said the verdict did not provide justice for their beloved daughter. Allison, Kelly's mother, successfully lobbied Texas legislature to expand in 2019. Missing Persons Alert System in Texas. She then founded the nonprofit Kelly's Calling to integrate a missing persons alert system. Steele also founded a nonprofit dedicated to providing public information about Clear Alert. This is Texas. These efforts were in addition to the state's emergency broadcast alerts targeting individuals ages 18 to 64. In 2021, she filed a civil lawsuit against Trinity University, alleging negligence in protecting his daughter, Kelly, claiming that none of Kelly's guardians were informed that Mark had trashed her. She also said the university took no action against him after allegedly allowing him continued access to his daughter and leaving her open to manipulation. It's unclear whether evidence gathered by Allison and Lawrence will come to light at Mark's trial in 2023 despite the betrayal. Not guilty of the charge of ending his life, but he was found guilty of aggravated assault, occasioning bodily harm. Prosecutors noted that the family was satisfied with the verdict, as they had endured a long period of pain and were relieved that the legal process was over, allowing them to begin the healing process after losing a child. It's been a painful ordeal. Unfortunately, it's been a heart-wrenching journey that Kelly's parents have had to endure. Allison said they are still completely devastated by the pain of losing Kelly and asked people of faith to pray for her family, friends, and justice.